killing of that American Aysenur Ezgi. What's your message for Americans who are concerned that you are providing military aid to a country that is killing U.S. citizens? And is there ever a point at which the killing of Americans in that region could lead to a change in U.S. policy of weapons provision?
First, I just want to extend my deepest condolences, the deepest condolences of the United States government to the family of Aysenur Ezgi Eygi. We deplore this tragic loss. Now, the most important thing to do is to gather the facts.
Early Sunday morning in Israel, the parents of Hersh Goldberg Polin received the devastating news that they would never see their son again after he was murdered by Hamas. Like John Polin and Rachel Goldberg Polin, the families of 5 other hostages also found out on Sunday that they too had lost their loved ones forever. We grieve for all of them, and we demand justice for all of them.
Friends, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken had just announced that the Biden-Harris administration simply do not care about non-Israeli Americans. They can die or get slaughtered by Israeli terrorists. This rogue administration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will not be bothered by this development. Why am I saying it? Because this is exactly what Antony Blinken indicated through his flippant statement made in the wake of the brutal murder of an American citizen in the occupied West Bank by Israeli terrorists. This was after Israeli terrorists murdered 26-year-old American activist Aysenur Ezgi Eygi in the occupied West Bank. Yes, Israelis have become so emboldened that they simply do not care if their victims are the citizens of those countries that are sponsoring its genocidal campaign in Gaza. According to local reports, Israeli terrorists shot Aysenur in her head. Fuad Nafa, the head of the Rafidia hospital in Nablus, told the news agency Reuters that she was brought to the hospital in a very, very critical condition with a serious head injury. War criminal Antony Blinken was in Dominican Republic trying to disturb the region when a reporter asked him about his views on the brutal murder of the American citizen Aysenur. You know what he said? Well, watch it for yourself.
The killing of that American Aysenur Ezgi. What's your message for Americans who are concerned that you are providing military aid to a country that is killing U.S. citizens? And is there ever a point at which the killing of Americans in that region could lead to a change in U.S. policy of weapons provision?
First, I just want to extend my deepest condolences, the deepest condolences of the United States government to the family of Aysenur Ezgi Eygi. We deplore this tragic loss. Now, the most important thing to do is to gather the facts, and that's exactly what we're in the process of doing. And we are intensely focused on getting those facts. And any actions that we take are driven by the facts. So first things first, let's find out exactly what happened, and we will draw the necessary conclusions and consequences from that. As you've heard me say many times before, I have no higher priority than the safety and protection of American citizens around the world, wherever they are. Something I take with the utmost seriousness. So, as we have more info, we'll share it, we'll make it available, and as necessary, we'll act on it.
Can you detect his utter shamelessness here? He deplores, in his words, he deplores this tragic loss, deplores. No referring to Aysenur as a hero, as he had done in the case of the death of former IDF soldier Hersh Goldberg Polin, who was killed by Israelis recently. But in the case of Hersh Goldberg, Blinken had moved with lightning speed to post not one but 2 tweets blaming Hamas for his death. Yes, he had concluded within minutes that Hamas was responsible for the death of Hersh, and other hostages. However, in the case of Aysenur, we still talk about gathering facts, even though there have been several hours since her brutal murder by Israelis. This is what he had written on Twitter when Hersh Goldberg Pauline was found dead. He had written, Hersh Goldberg Pauline is an American hero who will be remembered for his kindness and selflessness. Our hearts break for John, Rachel, and the entire family, as well as the other families who found out today that their loved ones won't be coming home. May their memory be a blessing. The killing of these hostages only further confirms Hamas's depravity. It should release all the hostages immediately. We will continue to work with our partners in the region to secure an agreement without delay that frees the remaining hostages. Just see the kind of words he was using: depravity, hero. You know why he was writing all those words for Hersh? Because Hersh was an Israeli American. Aysenur was an American with Turkish descent. Blinken's minion, Matt Miller, too, had started his press conference earlier this week with a long rant on Hersh.
Early Sunday morning in Israel, the parents of Hersh Goldberg Polin received the devastating news that they would never see their son again after he was murdered by Hamas. Like John Polin and Rachel Goldberg Polin, the families of 5 other hostages also found out on Sunday that they too had lost their loved ones forever. We grieve for all of them, and we demand justice for all of them. As Secretary Blinken said this weekend, Hersh Goldberg Polin is an American hero. The Secretary got to know Hersh's parents over the past 11 months, and like so many Americans who met them or who saw them in one of their many television appearances advocating for the release of their son, he heard from them time and time again what a special human being Hersh was. Hersh was a young man known by his family, by his friends for his kindness, for being a gentle soul who loved traveling, who loved music. And of course, he was attending a music festival on October 7th when it was attacked by Hamas, and he witnessed the murder of so many citizens, not just of Israel, but of countries around the world. The world also knows about the courage that Hersh demonstrated that day, how he took refuge in a shelter with others who were attending the festival. And when Hamas threw grenades into that shelter, he picked up grenade after grenade and threw them back out until eventually one of them blew one of his arms off. Hersh continued to demonstrate that same courage for the 330 days he spent in Hamas captivity. Tragically, any deal to bring home the hostages will come too late for him. But there are dozens of hostages still remaining in Gaza.
But Blinken still wants time to gather facts on Aysenur's murder. This is nothing but a distraction tactic so that people responsible for her murder, people of Blinken's second country, Israel, are not held to account. They're never held to account. We know what happened to the murderers of Rachel Corrie. We know what happens to the murderers of another American citizen, Shireen Abu Akleh. My question is to Americans. Dear Americans, is Aysenur today? It will be you or your loved ones tomorrow. These rogue crooks are playing with your future and the future and safety of your loved ones. What will it take for you to rise against these corrupt politicians? The right place for these crooks is in jail and not a civilized society. That's it from me. I would like to use this opportunity to say a massive thank you to those who have supported this platform on buymecoffee.com and Patreon. I would also like to request others to do the same because I can't emphasize enough why it's important for all of you to support this platform if you want a credible and alternative news platform to become powerful. It's absolutely important for an alternative media to grow so that they can represent your sentiments and views and not the sentiments of those corrupt establishment or corporations. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.